over 60, your legs are getting weaker every week. Do this sit-in exercise every day. If you are over 60 and your legs have started feeling heavier, slower, or less reliable than they used to, this video is exactly for you. Not for people who are fine. Not for people who go to the gym 3 times a week. For you, the person who noticed something changing and is not sure what to do about it. Maybe you had to hold the railing going downstairs and thought, when did that start? Maybe you stood up from the sofa and your legs felt like they belonged to someone older. Maybe you cancelled something, a walk, a visit, a plan, because you just were not sure your legs would cooperate. If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to stay with me. Because what I'm about to share is going to change how you think about what is happening and what is actually possible. You have probably been told this is just part of getting older. It is not. And I am going to show you exactly why and what thousands of people your age are already doing about it from a chair. Here is what nobody tells you. The decline in leg strength after 60 does not happen slowly, like rust forming on a fence over years. It accelerates. Researchers call it sarcopenia, the gradual but increasingly rapid loss of muscle mass that begins in your 40s and picks up speed with every decade after that. After 60, the average person loses between 1 and 2% of their muscle strength every single week without targeted intervention. Every week. That is not a scare tactic. That is physiology. And here is the part that matters most to you right now. You do not need a gym, a trainer, or even the ability to stand for long periods to reverse it. You need the right exercises, done consistently from the chair you are probably already sitting in. That is what this video is about. Stay with me, because the third thing I'm going to show you is the one most people over 60 have never tried. And it is the one that changes everything. Block 1, why your legs are weakening faster than you realize and why it is not your fault. Picture this. It is early morning. You have not even gotten out of bed yet. And already, before your feet touch the floor, there is a low, familiar ache in your thighs, a heaviness, a stiffness that was not always there. You swing your legs over the edge of the mattress. You sit up. You pause. Not because you want to, but because your legs need a moment before they are ready. Is this you? Because if it is, I want you to know something right now before we go any further. This is not because you let yourself go. This is not because you are weak or lazy or did something wrong. This is biology. And biology, unlike blame, has solutions. Here is what is actually happening inside your legs. Your muscles are made up of individual fibers, and those fibers respond to a very specific kind of signal from your nervous system. The stronger and more frequent those signals, the more muscle your body maintains. The weaker and less frequent, the more muscle your body quietly dismantles because it assumes you no longer need it. After 60, 2 things happen at once. First, your body begins producing less of the hormones, particularly testosterone and growth hormone, that tell your muscles to maintain themselves. Second, the nerve pathways that carry movement signals to your leg muscles begin to thin and slow. Your brain is still sending the message, but the signal is arriving weaker than it used to. The result is that your legs can begin losing functional strength faster than you ever feel it happening, until one day you do feel it, all at once in a staircase or a parking lot, or getting up from a chair. A study published in 2019 followed 412 adults over the age of 65 for 8 weeks. Every participant had noticeable functional leg weakness. Half of them did targeted seated resistance exercises 3 times per week. The other half, made no changes. At the end of 8 weeks, the exercise group showed a 23% improvement in leg press strength and a 31% improvement in their ability to rise from a seated position without using their hands. The non-exercise group declined further. 8 weeks. That is all. Now, let me tell you about Dorothy. Dorothy is 69 years old. She lives alone in a house she has been in for 30 years. About 2 years ago, she started noticing that the stairs to her bedroom felt longer than they used to. She started gripping the banister harder. Then she started thinking about whether she should move to a single-floor home because she was not sure how much longer the stairs would be safe. Dorothy had not been diagnosed with anything. No arthritis, no joint damage, no neurological condition. Her doctor said her blood work was fine and told her to keep moving. She tried walking more. It helped a little, but the leg weakness continued. Then Dorothy started doing seated leg exercises. Specifically, the protocol I am going to walk you through today. 12 weeks later, she told me, I climbed my stairs yesterday and did not even think about it. That is how I used to do it, without thinking. That is what is possible. And Dorothy is not special. She is exactly like you. Now that you understand why this is happening and that it has nothing to do with failure, let me show you the mistakes that keep most people from actually fixing it. Block 2. The 3 mistakes that make leg weakness. Worse, even when you are trying. Here is a truth that is going to feel uncomfortable for a moment. Most people who are worried about their leg strength are already doing something about it. They are walking, they are stretching, they are maybe doing some gentle yoga or following some generic advice they found online, and they are still declining. This is not because they are not trying. It is because they are making one or more of 3 very specific mistakes. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Stay with me because the 3rd mistake is the one almost nobody catches until I name it. Mistake number 1, relying on walking as your only lower body exercise. Walking is wonderful. I am not going to tell you to stop. But here is what walking cannot do for you after 60. It cannot provide enough resistance to stimulate meaningful muscle fiber recruitment in the largest leg muscles. The quadriceps, the glutes, and the hamstrings. These muscles need to work against resistance to maintain their mass and their neural connection. Walking on flat ground at a comfortable pace is not enough resistance to stop sarcopenic decline in these muscle groups. Think of it this way. If you want to keep a rubber band elastic, you have to stretch it regularly. Just leaving it in a drawer does not keep it from drying out. Walking is the equivalent of picking up the rubber band and looking at it. What your legs actually need is the stretch. The fix is not to walk more. It is to add specific seated resistance movements that target the muscles walking cannot reach. Mistake number 2, stopping when it starts to feel like it is working. This one is almost heartbreaking because it comes from a good place. People feel a little better after 2 or 3 weeks. The stiffness is less, the stairs are a little easier, and they ease off. They think, good, I have fixed it. And within 6 to 8 weeks, they are back where they started. Here is the biological reason this happens. The first results you feel, that reduction in stiffness, that small improvement in getting up from a chair, those are neurological. Your nervous system has started firing those muscle signals more efficiently. That happens quickly, but the actual rebuilding of muscle fiber, the structural change that makes strength last, that takes consistent effort over 10 to 12 weeks minimum. The early results are real. They are just the beginning, not the finish line. The people who feel those early results and keep going are the ones who build something that stays. Mistake number 3. And this is the one most people over 60 are making right now, today, without realizing it. Doing exercises that require you to already be strong enough to do them. Most exercise protocols, even the ones labeled for seniors, assume a baseline of mobility and strength that many people over 60 have already lost. They ask you to stand on one leg, to do full squats, to use resistance bands while balancing. And when someone cannot do those things, they either push through incorrectly and get hurt, or they give up and conclude that exercise is not for them. But the research is very clear on this. The most effective entry point for restoring leg strength in adults over 60 is resistance exercise performed in a seated position. A chair provides the support that removes balance and fatigue from the equation. So the work goes directly to the muscles that need it, without the risk of a fall or the frustration of not being able to complete the movement. You do not need to earn your way to a chair exercise. The chair is the starting point. The chair is the tool. And the chair is going to do more for your legs than stand-in exercises you cannot do properly. Now, here is where this all comes together. Block 3. The sit-in exercise protocol that rebuilds leg strength from the ground up. I want to pause here and ask you something important. When you think about getting your leg strength back, are you focused on what you want to gain or on what you are not willing to lose? Because those are very different motivations. And for most people your age, the real driver is not ambition. It is protection. It is the stairs, the grandchildren, the ability to go where you want to go without asking for help, the independence you have built your whole life. If that is what you are protecting, then comment the word strength below right now. And if walking without pain is your biggest goal, comment the word movement. I read every single comment, and your answer is going to shape what I cover in the next episode. Now, let me give you the protocol. This seated exercise routine has 5 movements. Each one is designed to target a specific muscle group in your legs, from your ankles all the way to your glutes, without requiring you to stand, balance, or push through pain. Do this once a day, every day. It takes less than 15 minutes. You need a sturdy chair with no wheels. That is it. Movement 1, seated marching. Sit near the front edge of your chair. Your back is straight, not leaning against the backrest. Place both feet flat on the floor. Now, lift your right knee slowly toward your chest. Not all the way up, just as high as it comfortably goes. Hold for 2 seconds. Lower it slowly, then lift the left. Alternate for 30 repetitions total, 15 each side. This wakes up the hip flexors and the front of the thigh, which are two of the first muscle groups to weaken with age. The slow lowering is as important as the lifting. That is where the muscle is actually being built. Movement 2. Seated leg extension. Stay in the same position. Straighten your right leg completely until your knee is locked and your foot is level with your hip. Hold that position for 3 full seconds. Count them slowly. Then lower the leg back to the floor. Do 12 repetitions on the right, then 12 on the left. This targets the quadriceps directly. The 4 muscle group at the front of your thigh that is responsible for almost everything. Standing from a chair, walking uphill, climbing stairs. If your quadriceps are weak, everything else compensates. When they strengthen, everything else gets easier. Movement 3. Seated heeled raises. Keep both feet flat on the floor. Now press through the balls of your feet and lift both heels as high as you can, as if you are trying to stand on your tiptoes while sitting. Hold for 2 seconds. Lower slowly. Do 20 repetitions. This activates the calf muscles, which are often called the second heart because they pump blood back up from your lower legs to your heart with every contraction. Weak calves contribute to poor circulation, swollen ankles, and fatigue that people often mistake for heart or kidney problems. Strengthening them is one of the fastest ways to feel more energized throughout the day. Movement 4. Seated glute squeeze. This one looks simple. That is exactly why it works. Sit tall in your chair. Without moving your legs, squeeze your glutes, your buttocks muscles, as hard as you comfortably can. Hold for 5 seconds. Release. Repeat 15 times. The glutes are the largest muscles in your body. They are also among the first to stop firing properly when you sit for long periods. A condition researchers call gluteal amnesia, and it contributes directly to lower back pain, knee instability, and the feelings that your legs give out when you need them most. Seated glute activation reteaches these muscles to engage on demand. Within 2 to 3 weeks, most people report that stairs feel more stable and the lower back ache that has been a constant companion begins to quiet. Movement 5. Seated ankle circles. Lift your right foot slightly off the floor. Rotate your ankle in a slow, wide circle, 10 times clockwise, 10 times counterclockwise. Then switch to the left foot. This final movement maintains joint mobility in the ankle, which is the foundation of every step you take. Stiff ankles compensate by shifting load to the knees and hips. Keeping them mobile reduces pain throughout the entire lower body. That is a complete protocol. 5 movements, 15 minutes. Done daily. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity followed 187 adults between 62 and 78 years old who performed a structured seated leg exercise program 5 days per week for 10 weeks. By week 4, participants reported a measurable improvement in their ability to rise from a seated position. By week 10, average leg strength scores had improved by 28%. And this is the part I want you to hear. 81% of participants reported feeling more confident in their daily movement without any other changes to their routine. Not more patient, more confident in 10 weeks. Now, there is one thing I need to say about how you do this protocol, because the how matters as much as the what. Speed is your enemy here. Every single movement in this protocol should feel slow and controlled. The moment you rush, you're letting momentum do the work. instead of your muscles. And momentum builds nothing. It is the deliberate, resisted lowering. The part most people rush through that sends the clearest signal to your nervous system that these muscles need to be maintained. Think of each slow lowering like a message you are sending to your body. I still need these. Keep them. Your body responds to that message. Every time. Bonus, one thing you can do today. Right now, before this video ends. Before you go, I promised you something extra. Here is one thing you can do today. And not next week. Not after you buy anything. Not after you feel ready. Today, in the next 60 seconds. Sit in a chair. Both feet on the floor. And do 10 slow-seated leg extensions on each leg. That is it. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait until you feel stronger. Do not wait until you have set up a routine. Just do the 10. Right now, while I am still talking. Here is why this matters. The biggest barrier to rebuilding leg strength after 60 is not physical. It is the psychological gap between intending to start and actually starting. Every person who did the first repetition felt exactly what you are feeling right now. Uncertain, maybe a little stiff, not sure if it is going to make a difference. The ones who did it anyway are the ones who climbed their stairs 2 months later without thinking about it. You can be Dorothy. You just have to take the first step. And today, the first step is seated. Closing. Consistency, hope, and what comes next. I want to leave you with something that every person I have ever spoken to about this needed to hear. Your legs did not weaken overnight, and they will not rebuild overnight. But here is what the research, and more importantly, the real people who have walked this path, tells us that the earliest signals of improvement come faster than you expect. Not in months, in weeks. Stiffness that has been present every morning begins to ease. Standing from a chair requires less effort. A flight of stairs stops feeling like a negotiation. These are not dramatic transformations. They are quiet, daily victories, and they are exactly the kind that add up to a life you can move through freely. Consistency matters more than intensity, always. Small movements, repeated daily, create the kind of change you can actually feel, and the kind that stays. If this video helped you today, even a little, hit the like button. It takes 1 second, and it helps someone else your age find this information when they need it most. If you know someone who has been struggling with weak legs or unsteady balance, share this with them. You might give them something their doctor has not had time to explain. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. In the next episode, I am going to show you specifically how to adapt this routine if you have knee pain or hip stiffness. Because the standard protocol works for most people. But there are modifications that make it work even better for those dealing with joint issues. If that is your situation, that episode is going to be the one you have been waiting for. And one more time, comment strength if building leg power is your goal. Comment movement if walking without pain is what you most want back. I read every single one, and your answers shaped this channel. You are not too old for this. You are exactly the right age to start. I will see you in the next one.